Hello friends, in this lecture we will know about some more editing tools in sketching panel and we will know about translating, scaling and rotating factors. So we can find all these commands in the operation toolbar. I go to this operation toolbar and click on this arrow. We can find translate, rotate and scale. So we will know them one by one. So to understand this, let's go to some basics of translation. So basically in the translation, a geometry is translated from one position to another. Here is the example of a geometry. We have horizontal and vertical axis and we have created a rectangle. And now we want to place this rectangle from this place to another place. This is called translation. Now to place this rectangle from one place to another, we need some references. So let's go to the sketching. First of all, we need the dimension or the location. So first thing we have to do is select the sketch which we want to translate. So we need to select this rectangle. After that we need a base point. So in this rectangle we can select any of the base point. So suppose I select this end point as the base point. So all the dimensions will be calculated from this base point. So when I translate this rectangle from this position to this position, we will calculate a dimension. So we need horizontal value. So this is the horizontal value and this is the vertical value. So this value specified from this point up to this end point. Similarly from this point up to this end point. So we can specify this by coordinate system or by directly inserting these values. So let's go to the software and translate some geometries. So I go to rectangle tool, click on this rectangle and then I draw a rectangle. So first point I want at the origin. So 0, press enter, press tab, 0 and enter. And then I want to insert the dimensions. So dimension of this rectangle I can take, width I want 7 and the height I want 4 and then press enter. So in this way I have created a rectangle and then I want to translate this rectangle. To translate this I go to translation tool and then click on this translate. In this translate window, the first option it is showing instances. It means number of copies. So number of copies I want only one. And then duplicate mode. Duplicate means it will create the similar copy of the geometry. If I uncheck on this option, it will delete the original geometry. Only the new geometry will be shown. So right now I am making a check on this duplicate mode. I want both geometries. And then we have option of keep internal constraint and then keep external constraint. So till now in this course we had not discussed about these constraints. Constraints are basically restriction on the sketches. So we will cover this topic later in more depth. Right now I am making a check on this. Just make a check on this keep internal constraint. And then we have value. So before inserting this value we need to select the sketch. So take the mouse into the working space, hold down the left click and drag it. So the rectangle is selected and then we can specify the value. Okay, before specifying the value, we need to select the base point. So the base point will be this left point. So click here and now we have specified the base point. Now we can specify the value of length or we can specify the end point. So I want to translate this from the origin to 10, press tab and 10 and press enter. We can also insert the value direct by length and then press enter. So in this way we can see we have translated this rectangle. I go to the next slide. In this we have a rectangle. The original rectangle is this specified in the blue color. And then I want to rotate this rectangle at some angle. So that is called rotation. So to rotate a rectangle or any geometry, we need a base point. So base point is this end point. So this is the base point of the geometry, and this angle of rotation is specified by this alpha. So we have this original rectangle, and this is the rectangle that we have rotated. This is rectangle number 2. So now we are going to do this operation in Catia, and then go to this rotate option, click on rotate. Number of instances, I want 1. Duplicate mode is on. So we need to select the geometry. I select this geometry, and then we need to select a base point. So this is the base point, so click here, and then we need to specify the angle. We can specify the coordinate values or we can specify the angle. So this time let's say this angle is 30 degree, press enter. So let's zoom in, and now we can see this rectangle has been moved. So this green rectangle is our original rectangle, and this white rectangle is the rectangle that we have rotated. So I undo this. Next operation in this is the scaling. So scaling means if we have a smaller original rectangle, so this red rectangle is the original rectangle, and we want to scale this. Scaling means the ratio of the dimension is same. So if the dimension of this is W1 of this bigger rectangle, and this height is, let's say this is H1, and this dimension of smaller rectangle is W2, and this is H2. Scaling means the ratio of this dimension will be same. So W1 divided by W2 will be equal to, okay, this is equal H1 divided by S2. So this is called scaling. So this ratio is given by, that is called scale ratio, or we can call it scale factor. So let's go to the software and do some scaling operation. I go to scale option, and then so the similar options are highlighting. Select this geometry, and then select a base point. This is the base point, and then we need to insert the value of scale factor. So I want double of this rectangle, so scale factor is 2. Press enter. Let's pan in, and now we can see this rectangle is double of the original rectangle. So green rectangle is original, and the white rectangle is our rectangle that we have scaled. So these are some of the editing operations. Hello friends, in this lecture we will know about trimming tool. As the name suggests, we can trim a drawing or any sketch with respect to another sketch by using the trimming tool. So we can find this trim tool in the operation toolbar. Go to this toolbar and click on this arrow. The option we can see that is called trim. So that is the trim tool. To understand this more deeply, I go to file option, click on this open, and from your project file, open this file that is trim. So select this file trim and click on open. So in this trim file, basically we have created some lines, and now we are going to trim these lines with the help of trim tool. So go to this trim and select this trim option. In the trimming we have two options, trim all element, and the second is trim first element. So I am going to start with this trim all element. Click on this option of trim all element, and now we need to select the lines or any curve which we want to trim. So I select this first line. When I select this line, we can see this line is now extending or reducing along with the mouse. So when I drag this, we can see this line is reducing, and when I drag it on the left side, it is extending. So now I can click in somewhere. Let's say I'm click here, and in this way we have trimmed this line. So we will continue with this option. I undo this. Once again undo. Go to trim tool, click on trim, and once again I select this vertical line and then place it. So when I drag the mouse onto the second end of the line, the second end will be extend or reduce. So we can see this time the bottom end is extending, and when I drag the mouse on the top side up to the second point, and now we can see the top point is extending or reducing. Okay, so now we can extend this or trim this with respect to the second reference line. So we just have to select the second line, click on the second line, and now we can see both the lines are trimmed, and the lines are trimmed up to the intersection. So once again I go to trim tool, let's select this first line and select the second line, and we can see lines are trimmed up to the intersection. After that I once again go to trim tool and I will select second option. So the second option is trim first line. As the name suggests, it will trim the first line, but the second line will not be trimmed. So click on this trim first line and click on this first line and then select the second line. Now we can see the first line is trimmed, but second line has not been trimmed. So once again I go to trim tool. We can use this trim tool onto this line. Select the first line, select the second line. So in this way we can trim the lines. Hello friends, in this lecture we will continue with editing the sketches and we will know how to break or trim the sketches. So to understand this, go to this file option, click on this file and click on open. And select this file, that is break trim. Select this file and click on open. So in this file we have created some sketch and now we are going to break and trim them. So we can find this break trim option in the operation toolbar. So go to this operation toolbar, click on this arrow and you will find break and trim. So I'm selecting this quick trim option, click on this. With the help of this quick trim option, we can trim reference sketches. In this example we can see we have circles that are intersecting each other. So if we want to trim only inside part of the circle, we need to use the quick trim option. So we just have to take the cursor onto the curve which we want to delete and then click there. So take the mouse inside this circle. Suppose I want to trim the inside part of the circle. So click here and now we can see this part is trimmed. Similarly, we can select here, click on this. Okay, once again we need to select the command. So select this quick trim and select this inside part of the circle. So in this way we have trimmed this part. Similarly, we can continue trimming. So we can select this outside part and we can see this green dot. This green dot is specifying coincidence. It means these two circles are coincident with respect to each other. It means these circles are touching each other. Once again I go to quick trim and then we can select the inside part of the circle also, because this circle is touching these two lines. We can select this reference and now we can see this part is trimmed. So in this way we use this quick trim option. Another option we have is the breaking. So we can break a geometry or line. So I go to undo option and then go to edit tool and click on this break tool. So click on this break. So in this break we need to select the element which we want to break. So I'm selecting this line, click on this line and now we can see in this line we have a starting point. This will be our first reference point. And now we need to select the point from where we want to break this line. So I click here and we can also insert these values for the reference of point. I click here and then press escape to exit from the command. So when I take the mouse onto this line, we can see this left portion is selecting differently and then this right portion is selecting differently. I click somewhere outside. So in this way we can break the line. We can also break the line with respect to some reference. So I undo this. Once again. Now we can see this line is not trimmed. So once again I go to break tool and then click on this break. We need to select the line which we want to break. I select this left portion of the line, and now we can select the second reference. So this time the reference object will be this vertical line. So I select this line, and now we can see this line has been broken with respect to this line. So this is a different part, and then this is a different part. So in this way we can break the line. In the similar way we can also break curves. So I go to this break option, I select the circle. So this point is the starting point. We can specify any reference, and then we can click somewhere. I click here, and now we can see this circle has been broken. I am selecting this. This part is selecting different, and this part is different. So I undo this. We can also break this bigger circle. Go to circle tool, break, select this bigger circle, and select the smaller circle as references. This first circle and this second circle, and click here. And now we can see this part is different. So in this way we can break the geometries. So we will continue with trimming the geometry. Till now we had covered how to trim the geometry using the command. We can also trim the geometry or delete the geometry using the keyboard. So if we want to delete this line, so take the cursor onto this line, make a left click, and now this line is selected, and then we can press the delete key from the keyboard. I press the delete key, and now we can see this line is deleted. So we just have to select the geometry which we want to delete and then press the delete key. Similarly, we can also select this complete geometry. Take the mouse onto this right side, hold down the left click, and now we can see a selection window. In this selection window, just take the geometry which we want. Suppose I want this complete geometry, and then leave the click. So this geometry is selected, and then press the delete key from the keyboard. And now we can see all the geometry is deleted. So in this way we can trim the geometries. In this lecture, we will know how to mirror any geometry or any sketch. So first of all, we have to go to the sketch mode. So I click on this fit option, and then isometric view, and click on this sketch and select a plane. And we can find this symmetry and mirror tool in the operation toolbar. So you can just pick out this operation toolbar. Generally this toolbar is hidden inside this like this. So we can pick this toolbar and drag it to outside to have a better view of the commands. We can find this command, click on this arrow. We have mirror and symmetry. So we are going to start with this mirror. As the name suggests, you can mirror any geometry with respect to any reference, just like you see mirror in your home. So to create the mirror, first of all we need some sketch. So I go to rectangle, click on this rectangle tool and draw some rectangle. I draw a random rectangle like this. Okay. And then go to mirror tool. Click on this arrow and click on this mirror. So in the status window it is showing select the set of elements to be duplicated by symmetry. So we need to select the elements which we want to mirror. So take the mouse like this, hold down the left click and drag it. So in the selection window, select this complete rectangle, and then it is showing select the line or axis. So we need to select the reference line or axis. So right now we don't have any line or axis, so we can select the axis of horizontal or vertical. So we want to mirror this line with respect to this vertical axis. So select this axis, and now we can see this line has been mirrored, and we can see the symbol of mirror there. Similarly, we can also mirror those lines with respect to horizontal axis. So select this mirror option and take the mouse and then hold down the left click, drag it, select all the rectangles and select this horizontal axis as a reference. And now this time both the sketches will be mirrored. In the similar way, we can select more references for the mirror. I undo all these options. I go to line tool, and let's say I'm drawing a line like this. So any line, and then I go to mirror option, and then select the geometry, and then select this line. Okay, we have to do it once again. Let me do it. Select this mirror option. So select this element and then select this line. And now we can see this rectangle has been mirrored with respect to this inclined line. So in this way we can use the mirror tool. In the similar way we can also use the symmetry tool. So I undo this option and then I click on this arrow and we can find the symmetry option. Click on the symmetry and then select this rectangle, and for the reference I select this vertical axis. Click on this vertical axis for the reflection axis. So we can see this time this geometry has been reflected. So the difference between mirror and symmetry is that the original geometry has been moved or reflected, while in the mirror command it is not moved. So it creates a copy, but in symmetry it is moved. So that is the difference between mirror and symmetry. Hello friends, in this lecture we will know about Smart Pick or automatic aligning in the sketch mode. So whenever we draw any sketch in Catia, the software will automatically try to find out the references. So to understand it more depth, let's draw a line. So I go to line option and I draw a line. I draw a line like this from a first point to second point. Okay, so now we have drawn a first line. The software will try to take the references of this line when we draw some more sketch. So go to this line command once again, and now I want to draw another line that is from at this end point. Now to select this end point, take the mouse onto this line, and when we take the mouse, we can see the references blue dot lines. It means the software is automatically tried to take the references, and now it is taking the reference in the horizontal direction. It means it is now in horizontal with respect to this line. Similarly, when I take the mouse in vertical direction, now it is taking the references with respect to vertical. Similarly, when I take the mouse to this end point and drag the mouse, now we can see this line is taking the references of this end point. Now if I want to draw a line from this end point, so pick this end point, and now we can see this end point is highlighting, so click here. So this is the first point, and now I want to draw the second point with respect to the horizontal of this existing line. So for this we need to take the references. To take the references, take the mouse onto this line and then drag it. And now we can see the blue dot color line. It means we are taking the references. So I click here. So in this way we can take the references. Similarly, the references can be of different types of positions. So if I once again take the line command up to from this end point up to this end point, we can make a triangle like this by taking the references. One more option in selecting the references is the Smart Pick. So to turn on the Smart Pick option, I go to this tools and click on options. In this options, go to sketcher. So we can go to mechanical design and then click on sketcher. In this sketcher, we can see the Smart Pick option is highlighting. So make a click on this, and now we can see all the options are selected. So if these options are not checked, make a check on all the options and then click close and click OK. So by using the Smart Pick option, I go to this line, click here, and now I want to trace the midpoint of this line. So to trace the midpoint, how can we do this? I take the mouse onto this line. Now we can see this line is highlighting in the orange color. It means this line is selected, and then make a right click and then click on midpoint. So it has automatically selected the midpoint. Similarly, once again I draw the line. I draw a line like this from this point, and then I want to make these two lines parallel. So to make these lines parallel, I take the mouse onto this line, make a right click and click on parallel. Similarly, we can make them perpendicular if we want. So I select this parallel, and now we can see the parallel constraint. And now we have to select the end point of this line and click here. So that is the advantage of using this Smart Pick option. So we can also use this option in case of curvatures. I have a circle, so take the circle. Suppose I draw a circle like this, okay, and then let's drag this. So I want to draw a line that is tangent to the circle and also passing through this existing line. So take the mouse onto this line, make a right click and click on midpoint. So now it is at midpoint, and then take the mouse to the circle, make a right click and click on tangent. And now we have to select the end point. So click here for the end point. So now in this way we can see we have applied two constraints into this. This line is tangent to the circle and also it is at the midpoint. And in the similar way we can also make two lines perpendicular to each other. Just take the line, draw a line like this, and then select this line, make a right click and click on perpendicular, and now we can see these two lines are perpendicular. Hello friends, in this video we will learn how to insert tolerances into the dimensions. So before inserting the tolerances, we need to know what are tolerances. So tolerance is the total amount a specific dimension is permitted to vary. For example, we want to manufacture anything of dimension 25, but in general it is not possible to manufacture a dimension of exact value. For example, let's say we want a dimension of 25. So a dimension representing as 25 plus minus 0.5 means that this dimension value can be in between 24.5 to 25.5. So tolerance is the value between this permitted limit. So the minimum permitted limit is, in this example, is 24.5 and the maximum is 25.5. So this is the tolerance. So in this example we can see we have a maximum value that is called upper limit, and then we have a minimum value that is called lower limit. So upper limit is up to this arrow and lower limit is up to this below portion, and the difference between this upper limit and the lower limit is called tolerance. So we can calculate this tolerance from this formula that is called upper limit minus lower limit. So generally tolerances are of two types. We have unilateral tolerances. In this system, the dimension of a part is allowed to vary only on one side of the basic size. Suppose we want a dimension of 75. So the dimension is varying in only one direction. It means we want the maximum limit, that is 75, but we can vary up to the minimum limit, that is negative 0.15. Similarly, in this diameter, we want a diameter of 20, so maximum value is 20.0 and the minimum value is 20 minus 0.15. So this is the minimum value. It means the dimension is varying in only one direction. In the similar way, we have bilateral tolerances. In bilateral tolerances, the dimension of the part is allowed to vary on both sides of the basic size. For example, in this case we can see 75 plus minus 0.15. So we need to minus the 0.15 from 75 and then add it. Similarly, in this 20 dimension, that is diametrical dimension, we have 20 point plus 10 or 20 minus 0.2. So in this way we can insert unilateral tolerance or bilateral tolerance according to our requirement. So now we are going to the Catia software and we will learn how to insert these tolerances in the dimensions. So right now I am in the sketch mode. So I draw a rectangle, go to this rectangle tool and draw a rectangle like this. Inside this rectangle I draw a circle. So go to the circle tool and draw a circle at any point. Draw a circle like this. So now we have inserted two features, I want to delete this inside line, so go to this trim tool, select this quick trim option and delete this inside line. And now we have to insert the dimensions. So to insert the dimensions, I go to this dimension tool, insert this horizontal dimension, insert this vertical, and then insert this diametral dimension. And now to insert the tolerances, what we have to do is select this complete feature. So hold down the left click and drag a selection window. So in this selection window, insert all these dimensions and then go to this option of edit multi constraint. So click on this. In this, another window will open. In this window, it is showing all the 3 dimensions. So the name of dimension is length 18 and it is highlighting in this orange color. The value of this dimension is 15.477. Okay, so on the bottom side we can see it is showing current value is 15.477. So we can change this value. Suppose I want this value 15, press enter. And then we can insert maximum tolerance and minimum tolerance. Suppose the maximum tolerance I want plus 0.15. So plus, so 0.05, press enter. And the minimum I want negative, so negative 0.05 and then press enter and click on this option of preview. So now it is showing the dimension tolerances. Also in this window it is showing maximum tolerance and the minimum tolerance. So the maximum value of this length will be 15.05 and the minimum value will be 14.95. By clicking on this restore value, we can restore this and then click OK. So now in this way we have inserted tolerances. Similarly, we can insert tolerances in other dimensions. So click on this edit multi constraint. Suppose this time I select this length 19, current value I want 10 and the maximum value I want, this time I want this tolerance in only one direction. So maximum value I want 10.05. So 0.05, press enter and minimum tolerance is 0. So minimum tolerance I want exact 10. Click on preview and now it will show the minimum tolerances. Similarly, I can insert tolerances into this radius. Suppose the current value is 5, minimum tolerance is 0.1. Okay, so 0.1, press enter and the minimum tolerance is negative 0.1. Press enter. So the maximum tolerance is 0.1 mm and the minimum tolerance is negative 0.1 mm. Click preview and click OK. So right now we can see the dimension has been changed to 0.02 and 0.02 because the dimension is specified here is the radius and here it is the diameter. So we can change this. So click OK. Just make a double click on this dimension as we already know and we can change it to radius and click OK. So in this way we can insert tolerances into the dimensions. Hello friends, in this lecture we will know about different colors in the Catia sketching. So when we create some sketches in the Catia software, we will see different types of color of the sketches. So each color in the Catia define a different type of sketch. So generally when we create some sketch in Catia, we have 4 types of color: orange, green, white or purple, or it is a type of pink color. So all these colors represent a different scenario. First of all, we have orange color. So orange means select entity or selected geometry or sketch. Whenever we select anything in Catia, it is highlighted in the orange color. So for example, we can select sketches like line, circle, rectangle, etc. So when we select them, their color will be turned to orange color. After that we have green color. So when we see the dimensions of sketches in the green color, it means they are fully defined. So fully defined means they are fully constrained sketch. It means that whatever dimensions are required to show that sketch, they are fully defined. For example, in case of rectangle, we define a rectangle by height and width. So whenever the rectangle is fully defined, all the dimensions will be shown in the green color. And then we have white color. So whenever a sketch is shown in the white color, then the sketch will be under constraint. It means we need to insert some more dimensions or any constraint into the sketch to make it fully defined or fully constrained. And whenever any sketch is shown in purple color or in some version it is in pink color, it means the sketch is over constrained. So in over constrained sketches we need to delete some of the constraint to make them fully defined or fully constrained. So these are all the different colors in Catia.